Hi, everybody. If you've never done one of these before, what do we call this? A live reaction?
It's a review.
It's a live review reaction.
Spoiler cast.
It was good.
Henry saw.
Hold on. Before we start the show, because this is going to go in a podcast. So everybody watching this, you're going to be part of the Laser Time podcast for next Monday.
Yeah.
But we are live, and we want you to chime in with your thoughts, like you, Waffle Robot, and you, Daniel Treach.
What's your favorite Boy Meets World episode?
No, don't. Every single time you derail the chat. I guess we stream enough. We might as well just get rid of, talk about every episode, package that up as Boy Meets World cast.
Spoiler cast of Boy Meets World. That would fill some time. The audience says they want it.
Spoiler: every episode ends unambiguously and happily, and then there's a commercial.
Corey and Topanga broke up.
But we are going to talk about Thor, and if you don't want to know anything about Thor, you should stop talking.
Yeah,
you should go away right now.
Spoiler alert right there.
It was good. Spoiler alert right there.
Are you pointing at my Disney Infinity Thor figure?
I couldn't find. Wow. I have one T-shirt with Thor on it, but I couldn't find it, so instead wore Thanos just because.
Do you fold them alphabetically? Is that how we got here?
No, they're kind of in a pile of things. Spoilers for my life. I'm about to move soon, so I kind of have stuff in a bunch of
life
piles.
Spoiler. But hang on, guys. We're about to start what will be the second segment of next.
I'm moving again in Berkeley. I'm not leaving San Francisco, guys.
Thanks. Go back to Florida.
We are about to start the second segment of November 6th, Laser Time. If you listen to Laser Time that Monday, there will be an all-new first segment you don't know fucking anything about. So stay tuned. Here we go. We're going to do...
second segment, all aboard. Let's go.
Let's go.
That's leading us in. It's definitely leading us in. Nothing else can.
Hi, I come from the land of ice and snow. I'm Chris Santista. Hi, everybody. If you're just joining us... you shouldn't be, but there are people in the live chat right now, so we'll have people live chatting with us.
We'll call them Asgardians.
Fellow Asgardians.
Asgardians, sorry.
Some goddamn Bifrosters.
Aspergers,
up
whatever.
here in the chat.
Coming here.
But this Dave, Henry, Matt, and me, Chris, and we're going to be talking about
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
After watching that movie.
I feel like I'm a little cynical to the superhero genre at this point because this was really fun.
I know.
It's the best Thor movie ever.
So my thoughts right now is it's the worst superhero movie of the year, but it's probably still in my top 10, and it's still my favorite Thor movie. But it's like this year has just been so good.
It's the best year for superhero films unless they were made by Marvel.
Yeah.
So no, I mean we've had Wonder Woman, Logan, Guardians 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and now this.
Lego Batman is better than anything Marvel made.
That's the number one.
It is awesome. No,
I actually haven't seen that.
Number one is Logan, Wonder Woman, Lego Batman.
Yes, there was Hulk Dick Olsen. That's true.
I mean, there's technically Hulk Dick in every shot he's in.
You know that his penis was exposed to Thor. Thor commented upon his penis.
There was a very visible Loki penis at one point.
What?
He's wearing some tight leather pants, and you can see something.
But we didn't get to see Hulk's butt.
You got to see what Tom was Hiddletoning? Oh man!
It's the shot of him walking that flips upside down. If you remember,
I'm gonna have to torrent me one of them cans.
So you got to see the undercarriage too, like
Okay.
But here's what I thought
you see the low key.
Here's what I thought was odd. We were talking about the first two Thor movies, and I think the first Thor movie. I don't know. You guys were lightly talking. Man, remember when Kat Denning was in these films? I'm like, man, Thor.
For the first one?
Yeah. Thor.
Was she in the second one? I can't remember.
Thor 1 is a student film in the Marvel universe. It is, dude, it is not fun.
I like the first Thor.
The effects are bad. It is boring. It is a waste of that character.
The first Thor had to do a major. It had the biggest job of any of the first Avengers films, which was
because it had to set up a character from scratch.
Outer space. It had to set up a guy from scratch, and it had to make Norse mythology work within the world of science, which was every other movie.
Yeah.
So it made it work. It made all the Kirby bullshit work.
I'll give you that. But like this movie, I do not like Dark World. Yeah. This movie, I don't hate it. I saw it once, and I've never felt the need to see it again.
Never want to see it again.
I really did. I remember. I don't think I hated it, but I'm being like, man, I same thing. I fucking never need to see that movie again.
So I am vaguely aware of the events of Ragnarok in the comics. There is a bookend of Thor, and in the middle is a fucking Guardians movie. I feel like they reshaped as a Thor film, and the only reason I'm sort of mad at it.
Well, it was Hulk. It was Planet Hulk.
Yeah, like
it was like 5%.
They kept talking about Planet Hulk. They can't do Planet Hulk now. They used it for Thor Ragnarok.
They kind of did it well. Yeah, we
can
know
do
too much about
Hulk.
behind the scenes stuff about it, but it was that like
Yeah, they can't do
Universal doesn't want to make another, or they can't make another film, a solo Hulk film with the Universal for some reason.
Will the
But
porn
anyway.
parody of this movie be Whore 3 Ragged Cocks, as Aaron Chow
I
does?
think the big difference between this and the first two Thor films is I think they finally felt comfortable enough, like, we don't need an earthly tether. We don't need a human character to explain shit to. People are bought into it. So, like, well, we don't need Natalie Portman. We don't need Peter Sarsgaard. We don't need Kat Dennings. No one to explain shit to.
I'm imagining, like, shoving my grandmother into Thor Ragnarok, and it cracks me the fuck up. What the fuck is all this?
As an SJW, I am mad that every woman who had a recurring role in the first two movies is not in this movie.
Well, almost everyone.
At least they said her name
Sif
once.
wasn't even in it.
Anthony Hopkins was. Anthony Hopkins. I'm not positive he wasn't CG the entire time.
I loved him acting like Loki.
If he wasn't, his eye patch. Why did you CG his eye patch on?
Scene
you guys have gone crazy.
Because he's like, this is uncomfortable for me. I won't do that.
They did that because they had him for probably 2 days. They were like, look, we're done.
If that scene wasn't green screened, then the lighting guy on that whatever shoot day that was should have been fired because it looked like green screen.
Because he was
still pretty.
That he wasn't wearing like a cape or anything. He was literally wearing a button-up shirt. I'm like, that's what Anthony Hopkins wore to set, and I could see the wrinkles in it.
I will say, so does
anyone
know what Anthony Hopkins said about his performance in the first Thor movie?
No,
he called it NAR, no acting required, because he was asleep most of the movie. This movie, he put some work in though. I almost
prefer when he's playing Loki.
He looked at. Oh, I'm sorry that you're talking about Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, Anthony Hopkins
playing Loki.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You're right. Was great. He did a real good job there.
He was probably like, finally, I don't have to be the boring dad.
That's one of my most favorite spoilers. The actors who played.
Yes,
that was amazing.
Matt Damon and the other
really good,
Hemsworth.
This is Daniel Tree says, I felt like this movie was finally Thor becoming his true character, whereas Willie Fresh is a bit too heavy on the humor, and I believe both of those two be true.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Thor, they got all they were going to get out of Thor being a stranger in a strange land, and him being like, verily, what is dice? Like, that's not who he is anymore.
And if I'm being honest, I love Thor, and I respect Thor. I loved him as a little kid. His modern story, his solo stories are a bit much for me. They feel too disconnected from the Marvel universe. I like it when he shows up and plays this character alongside faces that I know and read consistently.
The secret of this movie and Cap Civil War is that they're both like, well, no, these are Avengers movies.
These are like,
it's just fewer Avengers.
They are to the Avengers movies what Jackass 2.5 is to Jackass.
That's kind of what they've all become.
You're disappointed if you don't see at least 2 cameos.
It's a big ensemble where because I was thinking about this movie because I was like, it's weird this movie still kind of feels a little small to me because it's only the 2 planets, but it's also part of in Guardians this year we saw 3 other planets, and then it's all one big movie.
I would say this one felt too big to me. That I was like, the Grandmaster storyline is its own film, and I felt it kind of underserved Hela of just like, no, Hela's a badass and that sort of thing. But
Hela badass.
Yeah.
I saw that and I'm like, okay, both her and that big creature, whatever that stabbed her, they're coming back. They're going to be married.
Oh, I knew Surtur was coming back.
Yeah.
Like him.
Surtur.
Well, the opening with Surtur was great. I loved, I said, the casting of Clancy Brown in that was awesome, but it also was that felt like a joke to me. They're like, this could have been a more famous guy, but they got cartoon voice actor Clancy Brown, cartoons Lex Luthor to be it, who's awesome. I love Clancy Brown. 20th anniversary of Starship Troopers, guys.
We're watching it.
Mr.
We're watching
Clancy
it as of Monday.
Monitor cable.
What?
Can you just jiggle the monitor cable?
There's nothing.
I mean, we're not saying it. You just hear it.
That's
Loki was a better Tommy Wiseau than James Franco, says Willie.
Connor Wade says when you hire a guy like Taika Waititi to direct a film, you're going to get a comedy. But
that might be why it's my least favorite superhero movie of the year. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can be a funny superhero movie, but you can't have moments like Anthony Hopkins dying or Hulk, Hulk feeling such angst, finally seeing Black Widow for the first time.
And we're getting into spoiler territory. Why did Anthony Hopkins die?
Because
he wanted to.
Up and he's done.
Because he wanted to.
That's
what he said.
Look. Yeah, it was time for him to pass things
Thor
on.
to take over.
Or
something.
Well, that is what happened. That is a comic thing when Thor replaces Odin.
Well, I think it did rely too heavily. It looks like the most expensive comedy I've ever seen in my entire life. It is a lavishly expensive comedy effects film. But the problem you run into there is there are a ton of groaners in this fucking movie. Way more than any other
I
quotient in a
giggled
Marvel
most
film.
of the time.
Groaners. And Jeff Goldblum smiled every time he was on screen. I did not realize that would amount to about 15 minutes.
They really crammed all the Goldblum into that one introduction scene where like
No. That was 45 minutes into the film.
What about that Willy Wonka song?
Beautiful.
That was great. It basically becomes a Disney ride in the middle of it. But let's start from the beginning. The Surtur appearance was great. I loved that was exactly Walt Simonson's Surtur, like the guy with his
who did not get a credit. What the hell?
Well, he was in.
Stanley did everything.
They credited Larry Lieber of all people, and not Walt Simonson, whom I actually have a story about Walt Simonson. I met him once. Super nice man. I said this on a podcast recently. I used to have a sketchbook I would bring to conventions, and I would have every artist who did commissions. I don't have a monitor. I would get every artist to draw me Indiana Jones. He drew me Thor wearing Indiana Jones's hat with the wings coming out the side.
That's awesome.
Sorry to jump around, but was that the first time he wore that helmet?
Yeah,
he wore it in the first movie at the ceremony, and then put it back on.
But not that helmet.
Not exactly that helmet, but he
and who gave it to him?
The Adventures in Babysitting helmet. Let's call it.
Just call it what it is.
Sorry,
I was just saying that they have Thor in that helmet, and we never saw Logan in the Wolverine costume. Like, they could have just had
he
one
looks at it in a box once.
Does he? Oh yeah.
But the Wolverine.
But how? Those criticisms aside, I just overall, I think the most authentic comic book movie I've seen in a long time is Deadpool, because Deadpool starts up like you don't need to know that much. You're on board. We get it. And then Colossus is eating a bowl of cereal. I'm like, this is exactly how an X-Men comic would start. This is from the MCU. This is the most comic booky. Like, you don't get any intros. We're not even going to bother with little asterisks at the bottom.
No one's going to say, what's Asgard? Nobody's going to say, what is Asgard?
And it just throws a ton of shit at you, and I really did appreciate that. You needed 10 years of the Marvel Universe before they could start.
I like they have that scene in the beginning with Thor taking a selfie with the women, just like, everybody knows who Thor is. I'm Thor. Come on. And also, though, them with Doctor Strange, I had completely forgotten the Doctor Strange handoff at the end of Doctor Strange with Thor appearing. But it was cute.
Did that happen?
That was the post-credits of Doctor Strange.
Hold on,
I know that's
again.
8 Marvel movies ago. And
Remind me what happened at the end of Doctor Strange.
It was exactly the scene of him talking to Thor. They took it out of this movie and put it in there.
Because I was going to say that I only saw promotional materials like fucking Lego and Marvel Heroes, and it's like, why is Doctor Strange standing next to everybody in Ragnarok?
It was the post-credit scene.
That scene is the most unnecessary thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
There's literally no reason for it. If Loki just said, here's where Dad is, and they just showed up there, the same plot would have happened.
Remember those post-credit sequence? At least Guardians is like, we're just going to do something funny. Fuck everything else.
No,
or Captain America at the end of Spider-Man telling you that you shouldn't waste your time waiting. That
was good.
Credits
that was good because the one for Civil War was like, what's his Bucky's arm, and like, oh, I can't wait to see that shows up in Civil War. I'm like, wow, they got really lucky. Like, let's just have a conversation during the post-credit sequence.
That one was an Ant-Man. It was to connect Ant-Man to Civil War. In the case of Doctor Strange needs to know an Avenger to make it easier for him to team up with them in Infinity War.
And if he's going to know anyone, it should be Thor.
So now in Infinity War, he can say, Thor will say, I know this Doctor Strange guy. Not to mention, actually, the first ever superheroes Doctor Strange ever crossed over with were Thor and Loki.
I can see it.
Loki tricks Doctor Strange into capturing Thor. And it actually has a really funny thing in the beginning where Stan Lee wrote a thing in the first page of like, Thor looks kind of weird because Steve Ditko drew him off model. I was like, come on, the readers don't need to see this.
I let Steve
I'm sorry, everybody.
It led me to believe, like,
he's got a weird haircut. I know.
It led me to believe Strange was going to show up at some kind of final battle or be called in, and like that never happened. Was sort of a bummer.
Although I will say this, so I really don't like Benedict Cumberbatch being cast as Doctor Strange, but I liked it more.
How weird it was to hear.
I liked it more. Well, his accent's terrible, but I liked it more in this than in the other movie. I sound just like Dr. House.
I'm an American.
But like, I think that's just so Wizard Magazine on the nose casting of like, we need a skinny dork that nerds like, so let's get this guy.
Well, what dork is that famous? It's got to be kind of a famous dork, you know?
I think it makes perfect sense.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. He should have been Doctor Strange.
I don't even think
Tell us all why it's impossible.
I think it's fine casting. It's just I don't appreciate it. But this one I liked it more than in the although I really also just
I
didn't
actually
like
would have preferred if they reversed it. He was Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is Doctor Strange.
I actually thought that when I saw them. Or I thought who played the ancient one?
Oh yeah, not Cate Blanchett. The other.
Man, I did not recognize Cate Blanchett.
She fucking ruled.
I love her. Yeah.
I loved her.
I knew she was in the movie and who she was, but I just never read that.
Have you seen the tweet that Taika Waititi did a few months ago? He tweeted a picture of her at a convention, and he was like, "I love that I'm famous enough as a director now that I can work with great Australian actresses like Naomi Watts."
taking a piss out of Australia. Good Kiwi.
Yeah. And he, by the way, he did a great job as the rock monster. I forget what it's called, but.
Is the director the Rock?
I looked it up after.
I thought he's got the final line.
I thought it was every other cast member.
I recognize it. I want everyone to know on the podcast.
You recognize it during viewing.
Yes, I thought he was every single other person involved with Flight of the Conchords besides.
I thought he was the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People.
I thought for a second I was like, okay, that's either Taika Waititi or that kid's voice changed really quickly.
But yeah,
oh my God, Connor Wade just said Kumail Nanjiani's Doctor Strange.
I'd see it.
Send me to that universe. I'll live there forever.
Hey, well, speaking of Hunt for the Wilder People, the second in command to the Grand Master, whatever, Jeff Goldblum, like.
Topaz.
Yes.
No,
that's the sheriff you said, right?
That's she's the cop from Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yes.
And Sharon Dunn, Strange showing up as a cameo is the best for that character. I don't disagree with you, but that kind of interjection is why Joss Whedon quit. Like, quit funneling in horse shit for your next 4 films into mine.
Yeah, that's why the people who stick around are like, fine, I'll do it. I'll make it work. Like, you got to play ball. It is Marvel's. It is Marvel's toys. They get to. They're the rich kid who says, "You don't play with my toys this way. I own these toys."
I mean, next to Joss Whedon, like, this is the most directorly like Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Like the Guardians, though. Come on.
Yeah, I don't like. This is such like a Taika Waititi movie. Like, it's got like that same just sort of like
it definitely
like mumbling
felt very
the punchline kind
improvisational
of thing.
as well. They've said that in the commentary too. In interviews, they've said that.
Speaking of Guardians, we now have 2 MCU jizzed up spaceship jokes.
That's
what the
true,
fuck?
Yeah.
How do we have
Man,
2 jokes about people
times
jizzing on a spaceship?
I just if these movies came out 20 years ago, like the news would never stop talking about them.
Well, I can't believe they made Contest of Champions and the Great Game Master work.
Pretty nuts.
It would never. Those were ridiculous 70s comics. The Contest of Champions, which honestly, I'd love to see that movie. The comic was just.
You love the app. Now watch the movie.
The comic book in the 70s was just a fanboy's dream. Before there were forums, the fanboys just said, well, if every Marvel superhero was in a tournament against each other, who would win? So they make up the character that Jeff Goldblum plays, who magically kidnaps every important hero and makes them fight in a tournament and to see who's the strongest. And Hulk does pretty well in it. I forget who wins.
Is the cover them on a chessboard?
Yes.
I love that comics never get over that.
Could you ever have imagined Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master?
Yes, I never did. And that's when he's projected, that's how normally tall the Grand Master is. That's how he looks in the comics. He's also blue, but has that same haircut.
Did you also notice the Beta Ray Bill cameo?
No, where was Beta
He was
Ray?
one of the. We don't see him, but he's one of the champions in the. Oh my God! Someone mentioned it as I said it. Willie Fresh just said it. He's one of the champions. So you see like Hulk's face on the side of the building.
Yeah, I saw Bybeast on there,
Beta
but I
Ray
didn't
Bill's
notice
there.
Beta
You're
Ray.
right, Bybeast.
There was the doubleheader Bybeast.
But Beta Ray Bill was on there.
I missed that. Well, and speaking of Thor transformations, the allusions to turning him into a frog in the play was pretty great. That play was awesome because it felt like from another universe of if we'd made this movie 10 years earlier, who would have been cast in every role? It could have been all those people. Sam Neill especially. I did recognize Sam Neill.
I did not recognize Billy took his eye patch off at all.
The only one I recognize. Well, I recognize Matt Damon, and I didn't recognize the other Hemsworth. But I thought that's probably a Hemsworth I don't recognize. That's a great idea.
Funny
I was like, is that Chris Pine? No.
They should do they should just switch all the Chris's around.
Did you see this slightly off topic? Did you see that funny picture of Chris Pratt walking down the street with his kid dressed as Captain America?
No.
And he's just like,
or what is it? Kristen Bell being forced to dress as Elsa.
Yes,
that was demeaning.
But the
Connor Wade hopes Avengers 4 is Contest of Champions.
Chris Hemsworth finally got to have a lot of fun in a movie. He didn't have to be like confused and boring. He just got to be funny. He got to grow a lot. It was a big thing where he finally was like, look, I'm not an idiot, Loki. You trick people all the time. Your thing is you're untrustworthy. So fuck you.
Thor might be maybe next to Tony, but I think he might have the best arc of any of the characters in the MCU because like Captain America doesn't really change that much except for like becoming disillusioned with the institution. Like Tony doesn't. They keep giving him things where like he's an alcoholic. Oh no, now he has PTSD. Oh no, now he's a father figure.
Oh, you mean in comics?
No, in the
movies. Just
in
like
the
overall arc.
Thor's arc doesn't really invade Avengers very much, whereas Cap and Iron Man are kind of, that's part of a character's arc. It's in 2-3 hour movies that Thor's is not, and I think Thor's trilogy is the worst of the MCU universe because it feels so disconnected.
Well, it's really the first 2 movies, and this one's its own movie. Like it's just kind of, and his like shaved head too, and like the Hulk Thor fight was awesome. I think I marked out more for the first one because it was just like, oh my god, they did it.
Just
but
hammer to the jaw of Hulk.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed that more.
But without Mjolnir, it's a different fight, so it wasn't as cool of a fight.
Yeah, Thor's got to be more wily.
Where was Lady Sif as Van?
She just wasn't there. There was no Sif.
I don't know.
She didn't even get killed like the Warriors 3. She's just not there.
Well, they don't want to kill her.
No, they can't kill kind of any of them.
Because I can't
believe
how much
they.
The
TV universe. She's stuck there forever.
Right. That's right.
I can't believe how much they elevated Idris Elba from that shitty part he got cast in all those years ago.
The door opener.
I heard it. He was the door opener, yes.
Idris Elba is too good for that.
He said something to that effect in the last one. He's like, how did I go from starring in a movie where I played Nelson Mandela to where I open a door?
He was shooting
this
at the same time, wasn't he?
Didn't
he say something
back to back?
Doesn't he say I was Nelson Mandela yesterday?
Back to back. Lady Sif was too busy making her NBC show to get killed.
Oh, that's right. She's on that show where she's a tattooed lady who has secrets. What was the name of that show?
That sounds like an NBC show.
You could be making that up.
I remember just the commercials for it.
She's on that show where she's a doctor who has lupus.
Yeah.
In the
Which
opening,
Jag is that?
In the first episode, she's found nude in a duffel bag in Times Square, and then she's covered in tattoos, and she's like, "I don't remember who I am."
I didn't know that
but
was
all
her.
these tattoos take us to a secret.
It's crazy. Everybody's saying it's crazy how the Warriors 3 just showed up to die.
Yeah,
it feels like something that
Zachary Levi. That didn't have to be Zachary Levi.
It feels like something that should have happened in a Tim Burton Batman movie. Here's Bane, he's gone.
I love the Warriors 3 too, and Executioner had a fun little arc too.
Yeah, Bones. That was Bones.
Still admire
Dread to others.
Yeah, Dread.
Marvel does this pretty consistently with the movies that we're just going to throw out the structure of this. Shield's gone. Asgard's gone.
They
like that.
You think they hold these things in higher esteem than they do, which I kind of like too. Actually, I wonder if they did that in response to how every whiny critic like me will bring up the nobody ever dies in Marvel. Oh, War Machine's dead. Hi, no, he's not. And this was fine, we fucking killed everybody. Everybody's dead.
Everybody who doesn't matter. Yes, they're all dead.
But they still killed major characters. In Civil War, you knew none of these people are gonna die. Come on, they didn't even kill Zemo at the end of it.
They didn't, even though he was in a preview for The Alienist, the most mistitled show I think I've ever seen in my entire life right before the film.
But the Hulk fight was awesome. Jeff Goldblum was the greatest in every moment he was in it.
Dr. Strange made Loki's magic look worthless as awkward loser.
Yeah. I love that. I wanted more of that, of Loki saying oh, you think some sorcerer with it? And then he gets teleported away. I wish there had been a line of Loki saying oh, I'm going to get even with him.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, Loki someday will have a scene with Doctor Strange you fucking think you know magic? I am magic. Screw you,
And a reminder,
nerd.
at that point, Doctor Strange's been a wizard for 3 weeks, and Loki's eternal.
Let's say that he did a year of magic training that at least a year of magic training takes place in Doctor Strange. And he's got the gloves. They didn't even explain how he has the gloves. He has the gloves.
He didn't have the gloves.
He never got the gloves.
They're
in the
so
movie.
weird looking.
It looks so hokey.
It looks like a
no,
Halloween
but
costume.
it is him. He has those gloves, and they're specific. They have a specific function that I don't recall right now.
I don't either. But I know what you're talking. In the comics, sometimes they'll be like square and have those things on them.
The closest thing they ever had to him hitting his cane and turning it into the hammer was him with the umbrella smacking down, which was a great moment of but now he. Thor just doesn't have a hammer now. He doesn't.
It was in you.
I know.
The hammer was in you all along.
That was
Thor.
basically the end of The Last Dragon.
I was shocked.
He was finding the glow, except the thunder.
Or Spaceballs.
The whole time I'm thinking when they smash the hammers, one, can you do that? And then two, how are they going to bring it back before the end? And I was pretty shocked that they didn't.
Yeah, I thought he would make a new one. I thought there'd be a whole
Thor's
montage.
been hammerless for a very long time.
No, I know, but it's just odd when you watch really, it's like doing it the third issue. You take away what defines him.
It'll feel weird if in Infinity War he doesn't have a hammer. I would say now that he's Odin level power, he can just make himself a new hammer.
It just turns out the hammer was the friendship we found along the way.
Guys, we keep getting these Marvel movies. When are we going to get a Marvel movie about how important male-male friendship is? They never talk about it.
It just never happens. And
Two white men can be friends, Marvel movies. Tell us about it.
Or a white man and a green man.
That red-haired girl appeared on the screen for a second.
No, Valkyrie.
That wig was terrible. That was a bad wig.
I liked Valkyrie. I liked Valkyrie a lot. She was really cool.
Yeah, she's great.
I don't know her very well.
Well, it is and isn't the Valkyrie of the comics. The
Valkyrie
of the comics is actually the one that dies protecting her in the flashback, which I believe the director said as much. He's like, in the comics, Valkyrie's bi. We had a scene that would have made it more clear she's bi in this, and Marvel cut it.
That scene, although that scine does, I was thinking like, oh shit, that's her lady friend.
Right?
I
totally thought that was her girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Daniel Tree said, so does Thor just not have a human form now? I think not in the
comics
never or the movies, but I thought Odin's appearance on Earth was a reference to Donald. What's his name?
Donald Blake.
Donald Blake,
who was he looked Chris O'Dowd, another famous other side of the world actor.
Odin, for some reason, looked to me like he was dressed like Donald Blake in the Straczynski comics,
like
when he's standing. When he's standing in the grass.
I would say in the history of Thor comics, he's had a human form for like a fourth of his existence.
It's less than it's not
as much as you think. Honestly, they gave him a secret identity at first, and then Jack Kirby was like, no, I like space gods. Like that's honestly, when I read Thor now, I didn't really read the Thor books too closely as a kid. I read Fantastic Four a ton, but not really Thor of like Kirby books. But when I read Thor now, I'm like, this is practice for New Gods. Like this is a lot of the stuff that he would do in New Gods 10 years later is in Thor. So the space opera stuff is wholly the Kirby thing. Kirby loved the space opera stuff. It was Stan Lee that wanted, no, you got to have a human in there. Yeah. You need a human connection.
Every comic book is somebody's first comic book. You got to bring in the kids.
Tim Tykel says Anthony Hopkins must be happy he doesn't have to phone his lines anymore. But there's no more Transformers movies either. So
quite honestly,
what's he going to phone in?
He could show up again in the next movie. There's no reason.
It's a flashback.
He turned into dust and he traveled to Cosmos and came back.
But now, so this one was about colonialism. It really was. Like Hela was like, we conquered all these planets, and then this guy was like, I don't want to conquer planets anymore. What a baby. And so when she says all this gold you guys have, that's because you stole it from other places.
I mean, there's even a reference to like, I don't like the word slave.
They're and so then the next one though, you have a bunch of Asgardian immigrants who want to come to America.
Oh boy,
our jobs.
It really is. It is about refugees. The film ends with Asgardian refugees who need somewhere
going to Earth.
Go.
Oh my god! And what, Iron Man's going to fight them off?
I would hope Norway.
The boss said no. Get them out.
They're all going to live on that cliff in Scotland.
It was Norway.
Oh,
they said it was Norway.
Trone Dowd said, Hank, you said as we were leaving, JMS is Thor. It seems like where they're going next.
Yeah,
sets up New Asgard.
New Asgard. I mean, it makes sense. Like, they need it more on Earth. They can't just be like, well, I'm having these Earth adventures back to my space planet. They need it on planet Earth, and it gets him more in contact with the rest of the team. He doesn't have to teleport away, so that him being the king of New Asgard, I think, works. And it again will put him in conflict with other superheroes, which is what Marvel fucking loves: is superheroes fighting each other.
I'm done with heroes fighting each other. Like how many? Every movie.
No, you're not.
Well, because their villains suck. Like, because a lot of their
every
villains...
movie now. Every DC and
they given a hint of who the Justice League villain.
Yes, it's Steppenwolf, everybody's favorite.
He loves
the magic carpet ride.
Is Steppenwolf the second most powerful son of Darkseid? I would say Caliban's the most powerful, but he's not. He's a henchman.
Well, Caliban's the one that sounds like Worf, so he's got to be the most powerful.
He is Michael Dorn.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So Steppenwolf, he's the villain of that, and then Darkseid will be the villain of the next Justice League film, which Darkseid, Thanos ripped off Darkseid, like, except he's just the inverse of Thanos. He's just the inverse of Darkseid.
He's the thinking man.
Well, Darkseid wants to control all life. Thanos wants to control all death. A very important distinction.
But I don't know where we are in the conversation. We're talking about that after the film. The final post-credit sequence, not the final one. Whose ship was that?
It's Thanos. It's
okay.
Infinity War's the next film. That's the next time.
It looks like Ronin's ship from Guardians.
Well, if people, this is spoilers for the Infinity War trailer. It starts with Thor in space crashing onto the Guardian ship.
You watched that iPhone shot trailer from D23? They told us not to.
I know.
I watched it as well.
But yeah, so
and I can't believe they're not showing it yet. When do you show that trailer?
Is that the next one after Black Panther? Or is
yes, it is.
Yes,
it's supposed to be 2018.
Black Panther trailer. I'd seen it before, but seeing it on the big screen, it's later.
Is Ant-Man 2 before Infinity War?
Ant-Man and Wasp is it's after Infinity War. Okay. It's definitely Black Panther.
Got a weird vibe watching the Black Panther trailer on the big screen because
I loved it.
Because it's just
you're not used to seeing that many black people in a movie theater screen?
For sure. Thank God the Tolkien white guys were there. Am I right? I made that joke up.
That's right.
I made that joke up. No, it just because I don't know Black Panther. I know Black Panther okay, and I've read a lot of books set in Wakanda, but like you know, like, unless this was Black Panther, this looks like someone doing a superhero movie wrong in the 90s.
I guess.
But I'm going to watch it just for Michael B. Jordan as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about that movie.
He deserves the redemption. It sucks that he was cast as one of my favorite people and one of my favorite heroes in the worst movie of all time.
No offense to the guy they cast as Black Panther, but Michael B. Jordan could have been Black Panther.
I don't know
and
if
it feels like Ryan Coogler saying, like, this is who my Black Panther would have been.
Yeah, I would have cast this guy.
But I didn't get to pick. Yeah. But also that film stars more black women than have been in every Marvel film combined before it.
Connor Wade says, I don't fucking care about Justice League movie.
Alfred Woodard shows up for a minute in Civil War. I can't remember a black woman with lines other than her.
I can't either, except for in this movie.
This movie,
a British
yes.
black woman.
Yeah, that's the only.
It was a black woman in the Age of Ultron trailer that they then cut out.
Alfred Woodard, who while she was also playing. Oh, there was another one.
Yeah,
another black.
It was
woman.
that controversy
of
like shit they were shoving in in before and after Joss Whedon was making his edits. But it was someone from Wakanda. But it's in the first Age of Ultron trailer. That scene's never in the movie.
Yeah, no. The Black Panther trailer also was just so amazing. Of like, you get to see how badass Wakanda is. You get to see like this. What would an African nation be like if it wasn't exploited for resources? It's Wakanda.
Yeah, I'm only saying the trailer looks insane because once again we're at a place with Marvel movies they don't have to explain a lot. They don't have to have Will Arnett smirk and scream, a panther with superpowers. Yeah, right.
But are they gonna? How are they gonna shoehorn in any like Marvel characters in that movie?
The jokester is the jokester of that movie is going to be Frodo. Bilbo.
Who also has a terrible American accent.
I didn't see him in the watching on
thought you could pull
the small screen, him like hanging onto that car. I'm like, fuck, I forgot how much I like Andy Serkis, and I never see him as himself. Ever.
We see him get to be a little claw. He's got sound waves coming out of his hands.
I hope he's pink at least.
Welcome to the
for
Black
2 seconds.
Connor Wade asked you. I don't fucking care about the Justice League movie, but you guys do a live reaction to that. That's a Henry question.
Talking about.
I want to. I'll be here for it. My brand demands it. It's
not because I'm not cynical, and I don't dislike the Thor movie.
That trailer was good for Justice League. We saw.
There was
every DC movie has a great trailer. That's the problem.
Well, I was like, as long as someone smiles and cracks at least one joke, like, okay, this isn't going to be Batman versus Superman.
My man.
Yeah. You know what Marvel movie should have Will Arnett in it?
Which one?
Ant-Man 2. Wasps.
Wasps. Bees. Wasps.
We haven't talked about Mark Ruffalo and Hulk in this movie, which was
Hulk.
Yeah. I didn't expect I didn't know what that was going to amount to
this year.
But I just thought
that on the down low.
Like this is the biggest part he's had in any Marvel movie. I feel.
Mark Ruffalo, yes.
Yeah, and as both Hulk and as Bruce Banner.
I think he's in Avengers more than as actual Bruce Banner.
Yeah, maybe.
Banner,
Although he is playing the Hulk the whole time, which is cool. Like you can feel it that it's him.
I hate to even point this out.
And I don't know if they can improve the model. But
it
him
shows
as Hulk,
it shows they don't know where the story's going because what happened? You flew off. Then what happened? I was Hulk for 2 years. I assume those gaps would have been filled in.
He was kidnapped in a Quinjet, I guess.
But why did he remain Hulk?
I think he just crashed.
Because he was so angry the whole time.
Because Hulk was taking Hulk
when he turns off autopilot, that's when Hulk took over in Age of Ultron.
The end of Avengers, that's the secret. I'm always angry. Transforms into Hulk, showing that Bruce has full control over the beast that is Hulk.
Or there's this internal struggle going on where maybe Hulk is taking more power than he even notices.
Or maybe it's the thing on his neck. I don't know.
Well, I also like the Robert Downey wearing the Robert Downey Jr. costume was pretty great too.
But it's also like Hulk. It's him running away from his problems, like Thor says. Like it's Bruce Banner kind of giving in to Hulk because then he doesn't have to accept his emotions.
It's just that Ruffalo's just like, where have I been? I'm like, dude, come on, like. You did all this. All this was you.
Yeah, I agree with Willie.
I agree with Duran's shirt.
I agree with Willie Fresh there saying like nobody buys if I turn into the Hulk I'll never turn back. Like he's going to turn back.
Yeah, you'll be there.
The second he sees Scarlett Johansson in person, he'll turn back.
It still strikes me that whenever I see Mark, because this is the most we've seen maybe Mark Ruffalo, because like he's just not the Hulk for a good 20-30 minutes. Man, you are the oldest Avenger of all time.
Quite old, yes.
How does that? I'm not even asking a question about the purple pants anymore.
He's
but
more honestly gray
the black
than
hair.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, what does his hair change?
And also that they show him shirtless after Chris Hemsworth, which is like
They had to get the beefcake scene in there. I like
barely
that.
got any shirtless Chris Hemsworth in this movie. I wanted a little bit more.
I think in his contract now, he's like, look, you get 2 minutes of me shirtless, and that's it.
You'll get the from every
you have to be in perfect. Our friend of the show, Danielle Riendo, told me about this article she read about the personal trainers who work with those actors on the films, and they're like, we know when you're going to film the shirtless scene, so when we do that, you eat nothing and you work out every second. And so to be in peak perfect body for that scene, it's it's near impossible.
We're a long way away from Alec Baldwin playing the Shadow.
I was going to say Michael Keaton playing Batman.
Keaton being Batman.
Or half his muscles are plastic.
Or Christopher Reeves. I like the Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves was pretty like 70s. He was 70s.
Well, he was 70s big. It was just like, you look like you pick up a big dumbbell.
Tom Laurie's asking, if they pass the mantle to She-Hulk, can they sidestep the universal dispute? Henry, did you read that She-Hulk landed on a weird side of
I don't know what happened to She-Hulk.
Maybe in the Fox.
It's weird
because the Fantastic Four
Association. Just make a She-Hulk show, for Christ's sake. Make a freaking Law and Order but funny procedural with She-Hulk where there's almost no fighting. Yeah. I just want it all to be courtroom stuff where she's
eating shit on the Rainbow Road is or the Bifrost is the best. It's crazy.
Bruce Banner cannot die.
Well, he said
I was like that drop.
He said he shot a bullet in his mouth, and before the bullet could reach his brain, he turned into Hulk. But we just saw that didn't happen.
I took it as when he hits the ground, he is almost dead, but before his final heart beats, then the Hulk comes out.
Like he probably broke some bones or whatever, but turning into Hulk, set them and fix them.
By the way, Ruffalo is 50, RDJ is 52.
Yeah, he's older.
Mark Ruffalo's 50. He's been in movies since the 90s. So.
Yeah,
but they both dress like 24-year-olds. In the series.
And you better believe they're not going to date a 50-year-old woman in a movie. No way.
What about his infatuation with Aunt May? That was pretty. And everyone's like, she's not old enough to be Aunt May. It's like, she's 50, dude.
Yeah, she's 50, and they co-starred in movies together in the 80s.
In the 80s,
yeah. Oh man, I forgot all about that. Spider-Man: Homecoming, the last one of these I did. I loved it so much, but I literally don't remember more than 10 minutes of it now. It's just gone from my brain.
I thought it was a pilot for a Spider-Man show.
It's that's what it is. It should have just been a fucking show.
Speaking of not remembering Spidey, he was not in that Marvel thing at the beginning, was he?
That's when they made that before that.
It's a 2-movie agreement.
It probably cost a few $1,000s to make a new one of those, so they're probably not ready to do it all the time.
If Spider-Man's not in the movie, he's not in the logo because he still is technically a borrowed character.
Yeah. It is literally a 2-movie agreement.
Are they done with them now?
They're
no. It's a 6-movie agreement. Civil War, Infinity War, Spider-Mans, 3 Spider-Mans, and then whatever's after
2 solo Spider-Mans and
3 solo Spider-Mans.
All right, then I was totally wrong on that.
Or wait, maybe you're right.
I hate this is how the world works now.
I don't like having to know this.
We can math out when they're going to show up.
I was saying that we were playing South Park: The Fractured But Whole. That it's like, man, there are the fractured but whole devil's anus. That the superhero genre is so fucking old and riddled with stereotypes and dumb tropes. I couldn't believe, because South Park had to show me man, this is an old genre. This is getting real long in the tooth. And the movie I liked the most this year was Logan, to kind of subvert that or take it.
Well, Logan is we're done. It's over. We got to stop.
And
so every era's over.
Every time I see one of those trailers, I'm not sure that I can care that much anymore. And I think Ragnarok was a really fine film, but I'm just
I did it was kind of
much you can do anymore to surprise me.
It was kind of a dig at Marvel movies when Thor is talking to Valkyrie I love the Valkyries. It's great that women are finally getting their own.
About time. I like this smugness. About time. I mean,
you still haven't done it yet.
That's like every annotated criticism I've ever made.
That was my problem with Doctor Strange. Is you guys have been making this same movie for a long time.
Doctor Strange is exactly the Marvel. It's the Marvel origin movie of 2009.
It's not just Iron Man. It's the first Spider-Man movie. It's Batman '89. It's so many movies that are exact. It's again the Shadow.
Like Hank said about the first Thor, it was tasked with you have to introduce magic and dimensions.
Yeah, and they had to do magic again, but Earth magic and chakras and how Benjamin Bratt isn't crippled thanks to it. But the Grandmaster was awesome. I loved him. All the comedy, his jokes were he was just goofing around, and also
does Iron Man turn 10 this year or next year?
Next year. Another underrated thing in it, I think, in the movie was how Loki and Thor both reacted with recognition to Hulk. Yeah. That moment, I was like, what will Loki think of seeing the Hulk again? And just
have to get off this planet.
And his reaction to Hulk smashing Thor in the same way he had been smashed.
That's how it feels.
That's how it feels. I love that.
I thought they were gonna, because I was like, there's 2 ways that can go. Either he's gonna do that, or he's just gonna see him get more uncomfortable in his seat to be like remembering it,
Me
like
too.
like feeling his nuts go inside of him. Like,
Connor Wade asked, did Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange switch release dates?
Captain Marvel moved down. They hadn't got an actor
is
yet.
Captain
they haven't got
Marvel
a director yet.
They have both now, but it's still after Infinity War shot, right? Like
Infinity War is basically done. Yes,
Yeah. They've been shooting that for
principal
like a year now.
photography.
God damn.
But they're always making Marvel films, so kind of it never stops.
Yeah.
It
They're
feels
never
like,
free.
I feel like there's the last 3 years have been the biggest lull ever. Or maybe just because I was paying so much attention early
There's
on.
3 Marvel films a year now. Like it really never stops.
I know, but remember when the post-credit sequence were always like explicitly delivered upon like a year or two later?
Yeah.
Whereas like this movie has an example. You have no idea what
they
you
can't
were
even
doing.
reference the next movie because it's like we don't know.
They don't know what they're doing.
Gonna do.
Well,
or they take it from the next movie, which they've done at least twice now.
They know what they're doing. They just don't know where the story's at.
Well, they know where their next handoff is going to be to, but it's not always the next movie. It used to be. It was easy. Like after this Iron Man film, a Thor film will come out, so we'll have the hammer at the end of it. Now it's like, well, this ending has to hand off to the next space movie, which is not the next movie. The restaurant, like Civil War, then goes into Guardians of the Galaxy, but there isn't a handoff between those two.
Yeah.
And
Civil War this year? No, it wasn't.
No, it was last year.
Okay.
It was last year. I know it all runs together, but Spider-Man and Guardians 2 were this year. Those were the two, and Logan. But
when I
that's not
saw
Marvel.
Iron Man 2 when that hammer shows up, I was leaving with my dad. My dad and I are both huge comic geeks, have been our whole lives. And I said to my dad, I was like, that's Captain America's hammer. And then 2 teenage girls made fun of me. And I was like, what world do I live in right now? Like, your teenage girls making fun of me because I got a comic book thing wrong on purpose?
Yeah, I don't know what the schedule is because there is no.
I've stopped looking at them.
There's no space movie.
Well, I mean, Guardians 3 is the next space movie.
But
which
that's
they
after
have
Infinity.
announced.
That's
We just had one. We had 2
I'm
this year.
just saying.
Infinity is the next space movie. They haven't. Well, I also think again to get into the boring contract shit of it, like Chris Hemsworth's contract is up after 3 Thors and 3 Avengers, so they might not make another one with him unless they negotiate
He
a
could be
new
on
deal.
the throne and be like, Beta Ray Bill, take my hammer.
I
and
know.
Go
Well,
do whatever.
Lady
you feel
Thor.
like they're walking up to the edge of that of just like, I don't know, maybe Sebastian Shaw will be Captain America next when Chris Pratt or Chris Pine. No, Chris.
You almost got it.
Chris
Nobody help him.
Pratt?
No.
Chris
Starts
too high in
with
the
a
alphabet.
vowel.
Chris Chris E.
He was also the Torch.
You there?
And he was in Scott Pilgrim.
I know who he is.
Not another superhero movie.
Chris starts with a vowel. Antista.
You wish. Chris Cooper, says Connor Wade.
Chris Cooper.
Maniacal laugh.
Damn it.
Maniacal laugh.
Wait, is it Chris Evans?
Yes.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
That was
God
fun.
damn.
I got to
There's
quote a
too
Mr.
many
Show
Chris's.
sketch.
There's
No.
too many Chris.
Chris Evans, who
Nobody
is
help
actually
him.
Captain America in real
Chris
life, who
Benoit.
tweets at the president every day.
I know he became quite woke afterwards. He's like, I'm Obama now.
All right, guys, we do sort of have to shut this down.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for helping us out. I wasn't blown away by this movie, but it is
I
not
had
a
a real
bad
good
movie
time.
by any stretch of the
It is
imagination.
a really good superhero movie in a year of great superhero movies.
Yeah, kinda. It was just
it
too much
can't-
like Guardians. There was that sort of bugs me. There were 2 movies that tasted almost exactly the same.
It's the most I've liked a Marvel movie in a while, I
Yeah.
think. Even I liked it more than Guardians 2. I liked it way more than Doctor Strange.
I like Guardians 2 more.
I liked it
and
more than Civil War.
It's even with Spider-Man for me. I like Guardians 2
I definitely
more.
liked it more than Spider-Man. And I like Spider-Man a lot. I
like
enjoy
Spider-Man a lot, but
I
it
enjoy
also
it's just like I already had Spider-Man 2 and
yeah,
it's
well,
hard to top.
it had to hit a lot of the same things. The only thing I'll say, the last thought I have is the music, which we did not talk about.
We did because it was
just the Led
to
Zeppelin
differentiate
song.
it from Guardians, because Guardians is
Mark Mothersbaugh did the music.
Well, that's the real
crazy.
thing.
but like Guardians is throwing back to the '80s Stranger Things style, whereas they just made an '80s score.
Yeah.
Like for Thor, and like they made it feel synthy.
No, it
I
was
just
it
saw
was
tweet
the
that same thing.
Yeah.
They
it
were
was
like, this
the
feels like an
Blade
80s
Runner
movie.
score. Like it was so Blade Runner.
It's beautiful, and I'll say this: best credit sequence of any Marvel movie ever. That shit was
cool.
awesome.
That
It
was
was
nice.
awesome. And
I
then when I
love
saw
those
Mark
tableaus.
Mothersbaugh name pop up, I'm like, fuck.
That's when it all. Yeah, that's when it oh yeah, okay,
That's perfect.
But using a Led Zeppelin song was also perfect. It's a perfect action scene song.
Yeah.
It is. They sing about all North
the
mythology.
immigrant song with your
yes.
refugee.
You're right. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Man, I didn't even think about it with that. Yeah, the immigrant
Whoa.
song. Totally.
Try not to think about it. Republicans. Enjoy the movie. Well, I know AC/DC in this movie.
That's Iron Man's thing.
I know. It's just what I listen to when I get my muscles thrashed every day at the gym. Little AC/DC. We're going to wrap this up as Guardians of the Galaxy. That's great, Vandical. We'll wrap this up. You can find out, well, if you're just joining us in the chat for this, you can find the first segment of the show, lasertimepodcast.com. This episode will have a first segment you don't know fucking anything about. Hell, I don't know anything about it. But it'll be fun. Make sure to tell a friend about the show. Give this channel a like and maybe subscribe to something. We just put up that Freddy video, and it's good, you assholes. Jesus Christ.
Hey, like 600 people liked it.
It's really fun, and it took fucking weeks for me to put together in my spare time. So check that out too. Final episode of Elm Street Nightmare this week. Anything else to play? Henry, you got some plugs.
Oh well, yeah, sure. I mean, there's Talking Simpsons, the chronological exploration of every Simpsons episode from the beginning. We are deep into season 6 now, and we are supported by Patreon at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons, where you will see exclusively the Talking Critic show, where we go through the critic every episode as well. And we're actually nearing the end of that. We just did From Chunt to Hunk, the one where his son loses a bunch of weight. So check that out there at patreon.com.
I was confused. I keep waiting for a Bart's Comet reference so I can plug my fantastic Barnyard Mow free ringtone.
Yes.
Which you can get. I threatened to do it on the show, and I actually made good on it like right after you guys left. And I've been waiting weeks to tell. I've been waiting a long time to showcase it.
30-20-10 is a show on our network where we look at the pop culture of this exact week. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago. Reverse order that.
This is the last year you will have no Marvel movies to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
No MCU Marvel movies.
Yeah, the episode that posted a couple days ago, we did Starship Troopers, No Country for Old Men, and Hank, we did the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
Whoa.
20th anniversary of the
20 years
Brett
old.
screwed Brett.
And
There's got to be a reference to that at Survivor Series this year, right?
Probably. And yeah, we talked a bit of wrestling earlier this week. We did Cheap Podcast episode 100, which is on Patreon right now.
Patreon.com/LaserTime. You can watch Lizzie and I watch the first episode of Freddy's Nightmares. That was really fun. And if you stay subscribed to this YouTube, you can watch Starship Troopers with us this Monday. When I believe we'll be joined by Brett Elston. I should probably check with him, make sure he still wants to agree to do that, because that movie is so fucking good, and it inspired an entire episode of Laser Time that we'll probably do next week in between comic book movies. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll be doing this for Star Wars. Oh my God! Thank you guys so much. Check us out, Patreon.com/LaserTime. Bonus show every single week. We love you. Thanks for watching. Video Game Apocalypse this week. Yes, special guest Elena Yee.
Elena Yee, yeah.
Talking about trying to build a PC that's comparable to an Xbox One. And I can't wait to see that video, how it turns out, even though she told me. It was really great to have her on. And we talk about Bubsy, which we also streamed.
Why not?
Which is the only thing ever that has caused me to say the C word on a stream before, but it was at a shitty Bobcat. Yeah, I don't like that word. I really don't. But I've never done it on a game stream before. Check that out. Watch the Freddy video. We love you. Good night, everybody.